What is going on, everybody? Happy Victory Monday. I am Tyler Brandt, breaking down everything from the first victory of the season yesterday. A beautiful Sunday afternoon, a beautiful Sunday for NFL football, and a beautiful day for a Patriots victory. Of course, we are talking the Patriots Week 1 victory over the Miami Dolphins, and that was by a final score of 21-11. So I won't take up any more of your time. Let's break down this Week 1 victory over the Miami Dolphins. Before we really dive into this game, first things first, there's really not much bad about this win that we could really take away. All phases of the ball, New England played excellent, and really there was not much more that you could ask for New England, especially because they won the game. They got the season started off on the right foot, and even with a tougher schedule, starting off 1-0, getting some positive momentum, and knowing that you're not chasing that first win just gets the whole season started off better. So there's not much bad in this post-game review, this post-game recap, some of the thoughts of this game. Beyond that, I also do want to say that while it was a great game and the Patriots really dominated on all three sides of the ball, it is also probably the easiest game the Patriots will play on the schedule this season. It was the Miami Dolphins, a decently talented Miami team, but one that is still very new and in still a rebuilding phase. So while they did a lot of things right, I'm not going to put as much stock as I would, let's say, next week when they beat or when they play the Seattle Seahawks on Sunday Night Football. But with that being said, the Patriots also had a lot of new pieces and a lot of new stuff going on, and it looked pretty good. So let's really get into this game, some of the thoughts on all three phases of the game for the Patriots. First, let's talk about the defense, and let's talk about the best player on that defense, and that is, of course, Stephon Gilmore. Now, if you didn't watch the game and you were just looking at the stats, you may think maybe he had kind of a shaky game. First of all, the interception he had was beautiful. He broke on the ball beautiful. He read Preston Williams and what he was going to do beautifully, jumped in front of his route, took the ball. It was a great, great play. Now, beyond that, he also did allow 5 catches for 63 yards. That's very average. That led the team in both of those stats. So if you, again, weren't watching the game, you think that's a little dicey. And he also had 2 pass interference calls. One where he kind of like tripped and fell into the Dolphins receiver and he got flagged for it. And both of them were pretty borderline, nothing really too egregious. And it was fair calls, although it was borderline. So it wasn't Gilmore's best day at work, but he still pretty much had a very good day outside of a few little mistakes, a few little hiccups in the game plan. The rest of the secondary looked pretty good. They picked off Ryan Fitzpatrick 3 times, including J.C. Jackson, who had a great game. He ended the game. He sealed it with an interception in the end zone to make the final, 21-11. Again, the secondary all around, a great defensive day. Devin McCourty did his Devin McCourty thing, one of the captains of the defense, one of the leaders of this Patriot team. Opposite him, the Patriots deployed pretty much everybody in that safety room. Phillips played some off-ball linebacker, looked pretty good. Duggar got in, Terrence Brooks got in. Juwan Williams had a really nice play on Mike Gesicki, who was a tight end who was bigger than him. Really stood out, and it was a nice play for someone that we didn't know what kind of a role he would have coming into the season. So even in a very limited capacity, he comes in, makes a big play. And it seems like all these safeties are going to be divvied up kind of to where their strengths are and to where the numbers go as to who plays when, but they're all going to kind of divide a little bit of Pat Chung's work evenly. The run game for New England, which I'm very skeptical about, also played very, very good. Miami averaged 3.2 yards per carry on 27 carries. Really, the 2 guys that stuck out today, although they all were excellent, was Chase Winovich, who's actually rounding into a very nice all-around NFL player. Belichick talked after the game about him being pretty much an every down defensive player now because he's rounded into such a nice player. And Byron Coward had a couple of nice plays on the interior side of the defensive line. But again, they all looked good. They all stopped the run, and it was a very successful day against 2 pretty good running backs, although an average offensive line for Miami. In terms of rushing the quarterback, this is probably the biggest real weakness that I saw today. At least for me, they didn't really get to the quarterback with a lot of consistency. They hit Fitzpatrick 5 times. Derek Rivers had a sack on him, a very nice sack on him. But it just didn't seem like there was a consistent pressure on Ryan Fitzpatrick. And that is an issue a little bit because if you're not getting him on this offensive line against a below average quarterback, then when we start to play and when the schedule picks up and you start to play some of the better guys, I really don't know if there's going to be a consistent pass rush. So that was a little bit of a red flag for me. On the other hand, also Josh Uche, Cash Malua, those were two guys who were surprise inactives, especially Uche, who would probably be pass rushers too. But they both, again, being inactive, and there just wasn't much of a pass rush, which is not concerning right now because they won the game, but it's a trend for me to look out for. Special teams, like they mostly are when New England plays, they were great. Jake Bailey, another great day in the office for the Patriots punter. 3 punts, all down inside the 20. The Gunners getting down there very fast, downing the ball. Again, it was just a good day for special teams, except, of course, the kicking game. Now, in the comments, people were saying, it'll be resolved by the regular season and it'll be okay. The regular season's here. It's week 1, and it may not have meant much in the grand scheme of things, but Nick Folk, he can't kick all season for the Patriots, and I don't want it to be Justin Rohrwasser. That's it. This is a bad team problem. These are problems that bad teams have. Again, I've said it before. I'll say it again. Kicking isn't a problem that teams that compete in January and in February have. You have a guy that can make kicks for you with his eyes closed. It's very easy. Teams that struggle with kicking are teams like San Diego, or LA, I should say, who had kicking problems for years. Teams like Cincinnati, who unfortunately lost on Randy Bullock pulling his calf and the kick going wide right, a chip shot. Those are bad team problems. Good teams make field goals. I don't want to keep going around this stupid carousel with Nick Folk missing 35-yard chip shot field goals. It is one of the most frustrating things to watch for me as both a Patriot fan and someone that is very interested in this team, that missed kicks continue to happen. It shouldn't be. I understand there may not be any star kickers left. Steven Hauschka lost the kicking job to Buffalo, but he's literally just sitting there. Give the guy a call, work him out, bring him in. I promise you he's better than Nick Folk and Justin Rohrwasser. I'm done with bad kicking. I'm done with missing field goals. If you take this to Seattle next week and you miss field goals, you're just going to get embarrassed and you're just going to lose by even bigger than you're already going to be favored against. So it just has to stop now, and it just needs to stop now. There is no really other way to say it. All right, so now that we're past the kicking situation, once again, let's move on to the offense. Now, the offense was a pleasant surprise, and it was a fun surprise, so let's get into it. I thought it was very on par for what the Patriots were going to do. It was a lot of simple, easy throws for Cam Newton, a lot of pounding the rock, dominating time of possession, stuff like that. They didn't turn the ball over, which was very good, which I think will make them and help them win a lot of games by not turning the ball over. Cam Newton had a high completion percentage, had a good passer rating. They used Cam as a runner very early and often, a lot of, RPOs, a lot of different option plays for Cam. The speed option they ran in the second half was very good. The quarterback sweeps that they ran that Cam scored twice on, again, it was very cool, very interesting, and Cam looks good. He looks healthy. I mean, even in the shotgun when they had the 4th and 1 and they were in the gun, I was a little nervous, but Cam, listen, I mean, in the gun, Cam needs you a yard. Cam's going to put his head down and he's going to blow your defense off the line of scrimmage, and he's going to get that 1 yard for you. So he did look very good. 15 of 19 through the air, 155 yards. Again, he wasn't asked to do anything crazy as a thrower. Very simple. Again, a lot of slants, a lot of easy stuff. But it was very effective for what they needed him to do, and he did it very effectively. And as long as that completion percentage is high and he's not turning the ball over again, it's going to be a good day for the New England Patriots. I kind of liked how they turned in that kind of like that base power run over guard. I like how they kind of turned that into a read option play for Cam. Normally, Sony Michel or Rex Burkhead would get that ball, just go behind the fullback and just run right up the gut. But they turned it into an option play. I think Cam's biggest run of the day was on a play like that. Again, the speed option was very cool. That veer quarterback sweep kind of action, that was very cool. And again, it looked like a Saturday afternoon offense in college football on a Sunday, and it worked very well. One of the other very promising things was N'Keal Harry finally started to look comfortable in this offense. Cam was getting him the ball in some spots for him to really use some of his assets and use some of what made him a first-round pick. And I thought he did very good until, of course, that fumble that went through the back of the end zone. It was a boneheaded mistake, and it's an annoying rule, but it happened to N'Keal, and especially coming over 2019 when he got in the end zone, but they waved it off, said he was out of bounds. It's always around the end zone for N'Keal. That is very frustrating. But they won the game, no harm, no foul. If it doesn't happen again, then it's fine. It's no worries. But he did look good. He looked comfortable in this offense with Cam throwing to him. The offense overall, though, it still seemed a little gadgety, kind of, I guess if that's the right word for it. I mean, if they can run that successfully week in and week out, I think it'll be great. If they can dominate the time of possession and not turn the ball over, I think they'll be in every game, especially against the good teams. If you can limit Pat Mahomes' possession, Russell Wilson's possession, then you'll instantly be in a lot more games. But I also think there's going to be, especially as the defenses get tougher, there's going to be situations where, you know, it can't be very gadgety, a lot of play action that was based off of running the ball very well. It's going to be Cam needs to stand up, look down the field, and deliver some strikes. I do think that he will be able to do that when the time comes. I think he's learning more of this offense every week, and I think this was the week where he really just got comfortable with the plays they were going to call him and when they were going to run him. I think as the season goes on, it'll be more Cam actually throwing the ball, hitting guys in stride, especially once this offensive receiving group gets into a groove with Cam, once they get Gunnar Olszewski back, once they get a little bit of depth back. I think that offense will finally start rolling. To put a bow on this game, it's just Miami. They're one of the worst teams the Patriots will play on the schedule, but they dominated time of possession. I believe they had the ball for 39 minutes today. They were running effectively the entire game. They didn't turn the ball over. It was loudmouth, run the damn ball, smash mouth football. And I think if the Patriots play that way, they're going to win a lot of games. Even as the season goes on and teams start to scheme against them, as long as they're not turning the ball over and Cam's completing a high percentage of throws, they're going to win a lot of games. So it was an exciting week 1. I'm excited they beat the Dolphins. Now it's on to Seattle in their building week 2 on Sunday Night Football. A completely different animal. A team that looked fantastic today against the Atlanta Falcons. And all of a sudden the Patriots get their first real test of the season. Just how good is this team? We'll find out just how good they are in week 2. But that is going to do it for this video. Patriots week 1 post-game. All my thoughts, all my reactions to a lot of stuff that happened yesterday in a beautiful opening day game. An opening day win versus the Miami Dolphins. Leave your thoughts down in the comments below. What did you think of the game? What did you like? What didn't you like? What do you think about the matchup with the Seahawks coming next week? If you want to get at me on Twitter, I'm at the Tyler Brand. On Instagram, at Talking Pats. If you want to chop it up, anything about this week's game, next week's game, I'd be happy to chop it up with you. If you don't already subscribe to me, subscribe, please. I appreciate every single one of you that are subscribing. We're growing every day. We're getting very, very close to that 100 subscriber milestone. I can't wait to get there, and I would appreciate it if you help me get there. So, that is going to do it for this video. I'm Tyler Brandt. Stay safe, be good, and I'll catch you on the next video. We'll break down the Seattle Seahawks. I'll see you then.